Missed you, Lisa. Welcome back. It's great to see you. Here we are. I don't know if you actually thought it was going to shut down, but we're going into our third week now, and I'm just wondering where your head is in a Washington where no one is talking.
They're talking outside the Beltway, though, Joe. They're getting themselves into trouble everywhere, every corner, these members. No wonder they're keeping them out of Washington, D.C. Joe, it's an interesting time. And I did expect it to shut down, and I do expect the shutdown to continue. I think next week is, as you mentioned, is going to be a very interesting week to see if when we send our military out into the world without pay, that could be a very big shift in the dynamic. But Joe, it's not going to be until each one of these sides feels like they have lost ground that something's going to happen and the negotiation table is going to be back to business.
Okay. All of that said, to your point, everybody's out of town. And there's going to be some fundraising this weekend, and it's both sides. The DSCC's Napa Valley Retreat. Wouldn't you like to be doing this? Producer James is going out there. He's got a long weekend. This is the 13th to 14th. DSCC chair Kirsten Gillibrand will still attend, Democrat from New York. There's a big Republican party this weekend in South Carolina as well. That goes through Sunday. John Thune is apparently pulling out, but you're going to have a lot of members raising a lot of money, clinking glasses and drinking cocktails and golfing and all the rest. Should these be happening?
You know, what's interesting, Joe, is that up until this is probably the first time I can remember that there has been a shutdown and fundraising has continued overtly. There have been lots of times when you'll see these fundraisers happen and members will not go, but their staff and their fundraising teams will still continue to raise money. But for some reason, and I can't really tell why it is, this shutdown feels different. And I do think it's because both sides think they're winning the debate right now.
That's right. Everyone's got the moral high ground, which is a recipe for a standoff. Lisa, we have breaking news. Somehow it always happens when you're on the air with us live. You talked about this feels a little bit different. It just got a lot more different. Russ Vought, portrayed in an AI video that was posted by the White House just days ago as the Grim Reaper. Just now on Twitter, the RIFs have begun. Okay? The layoffs have begun. The head of OMB says this is now happening. We're trying to get information on what exactly this means, Lisa, what kind of numbers we're talking about. But how does this now change the dynamic for Democrats and Republicans?
I think it doesn't work in favor of Republicans. I think it hurts them more than it hurts the Democrats. I mean, the Republicans are in charge of everything, and now they're saying that there are going to be rifts. I mean, there was that threat, but the fact that they're talking about it now on the day that people are not getting paid, on the week before the military will not get paid, I don't know, Joe. Right now, you're asking me for my fresh hot take off of this. To me, this seems tone deaf. It seems like not the right time to do that.
I know that leaders on Capitol Hill were feeling the same way. The headline just went red on the terminal. Trump budget chief Vought says layoffs have begun. There you have it on your screen if you're with us on YouTube. It is real. It is no longer just a threat. Now, Lisa, I had a conversation with the Speaker of the House this week and asked him about President Trump's ideas that some federal workers who were furloughed should not receive back pay. He didn't give me an up or down. He said there are several different legal analyses that are floating around right now. Is this going to be the next problem?
You know, Joe, I've been saying it since the start. So many of my friends who are furloughed right now were saying at least there's going to be back pay. And I said, you know, the rules, the playbook, it is so different. And they were referring back to that 2019 law that said that they would be paid for their time. This is a totally new, we're in new territory here. And so I would not be surprised if this administration continues to move forward with that kind of movement. I think the speaker's in a tough spot. He can't say one way or the other. He's got to keep the president happy. He's got to keep his members happy. He's got to keep the country happy. But the president and the administration really don't seem to be all too worried about that. But they also know that that's not going to affect how midterms turn out because nobody's going to remember in another 12 months.
Well, we've got a couple of elections that will take place before then. And this will be the backdrop now. There was a ripper of a debate last night. Of course, you know a little bit about Virginia, Lisa, and we saw the two candidates for governor go at it. I didn't really hear what half of it was about because Winsome Earl Sears decided to show up with a strategy to interrupt Abigail Spanberger, the Democrat, in every answer, multiple times, to the point where the moderators were pleading for her to stop. Does a story like this now, if Virginia is chock full of federal workers, so is Maryland right next door. Every state's got a lot of them, but there are huge concentrations here because of the federal government and the presence of the military. Who does this help in a gubernatorial contest against the backdrop of a government shutdown?
Joe, Abigail Spanberger was always going to win this race. Winsome Sears is not the right candidate for the job. She is, I mean, even the way she behaved last night was classic. I mean, just poor behavior all around. It is not what people want. You cannot take the playbook that Donald Trump uses every single day and try to use it for yourself. He is a one and only guy. It is not the playbook that others can use and be successful. It's not going to help her. She should have been far more, it should have been a better performance last night. It was awful. I'm embarrassed for the party. I'm embarrassed for the way she behaved.
Wow.
And I think that I think that the way that this is happening, Joe, just fuels and offers more and more support for Abigail Spanberger. She will win that race in Virginia.
Well, in our remaining couple of minutes, let's tap your experience as a veteran of New Jersey politics. Of course, born and raised, so you don't mess with Lisa Camuso Miller. Jack Citarelli is planning a big bash on the Jersey Shore, and there have been a lot of different elements, I know, in this campaign, this race, that have brought he and Mikey Sherrill a lot closer than what we're seeing in Virginia. How's this going to shake out in New Jersey?
This is the way New Jersey does politics. Don't forget, I was political director in that state for a year when George W. Bush was on his way to the White House in 2000. This is going to be a remarkable race. Jack Citarelli has a long history of being a loyal, fantastic elected official in the state. He has demonstrated over and over again that he's the right guy for the job. Mikey Sherrill stepped on her crank this week, Joe. She talked about the fact that nobody in town eats pork roll or Taylor ham. And listen, if you're not from New Jersey, maybe you don't know this, but that was probably the biggest gaffe I have seen in a very long time, where she showed that she is not a native. She's not someone that people are going to be able to identify with. And I think that was the death blow. I mean, I think Jack Citarelli's got a good shot, but it's going to come down to the wire, as it always does in New Jersey. Republicans we do this up until the end. Yeah. We get really, really close and then something happens. But boy, I'll tell you what, she delivered him a gigantic gift in the gaffe that she made this week.
Lisa, calling the race over the pork roll. Are you a pork roll or Taylor ham girl? Does that depend on where you're from?
Pork roll all the way, and I'll fight you
pork
to
roll
the death
all the
over
way.
it. But I'm a Central Jersey kid, so that's what it is. It's all regional. It doesn't matter. It's still delicious. We all eat it.
See how much we learn here? Now I want one. Lisa, thank you.